Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Karandis. I'm still here. Sorry, just being a bit burnt out lately and just haven't had time to post or make anything. About to be laid off at work, and also just been working on a sister character that I made all in 1 month in January. Pretty much learning like Blender and also like just hair curves and making it better than the first character. I might actually go back and redo the first character's hairstyle altogether. Well, maybe not the hairstyle, but like just actually the way it was created, because the second character's hair performance, as well as density and performance and everything, is actually much better than the first one. As well as like I crafted it like much faster, and it's also more complex, being like lengthy. Long hair was a really huge challenge here, and yeah, this is just kind of an update. Like I know I'm making a game as well too, which sounds kind of nuts, which is pretty cool at the same time. But I don't really have really like, I'm not expecting it to be like a like AAA success or anything. I'm just one person. If I make it even remotely even like good enough for myself, that's already a success. I'm not really expecting like a world wonder hit. If it is, that's just that's miracle levels. Don't know if I can make miracles, and as well as like the time frame to get it complete is also, I don't know how long that could be. It could be years, it could be like months. I don't know. It really depends. I don't really have any preconceptions. I fully expect it to be clunky, uh, broken, like half baked mechanics or whatever. I don't. It's, the incentive here is to actually just make it and see what I can do. That's what I'm doing it for. As well as like I'm having fun doing it. Even though I'm like massively burnt out entirely, I'm trying to like learn all kinds of things in every single aspect. Like, how am I gonna like design her armor? How am I gonna redesign this? Am I gonna create that? Because I'm using all different softwares from what I was used to knowing. So it's a huge learning curve, but it's just like constant doing anyways. So, and I at least have like ideas of how I'm gonna get there. But just even doing certain things like the character's face and the hair in this second character here, I went down like really deep rabbit holes that I found interesting for myself, where like the Blender hair workflow was really nice and easy to do. I'm just gonna make some quick, fast, rapid guides on Blender on how I just came about approaching these assets and how I made them, and it's fairly simple after like some few basic steps, and then it's just a lot of repetition and a lot of time sink. But it's a working asset that I can see visually and usable to some extent, and seems to operate the way I expect it to. So I don't really have any teachers in this realm. It was just trial and error constantly. The first hairstyle, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, I legitimately restarted it 6 to 7 times from the bottom up. There was by about the sixth attempt, the approach to going about it was very different from the very first attempt. It was just like deleting the whole thing and actually starting from the bottom up 6 times over to finally get it into this. And then the second character, I only had to redo it like once, and it was only in the very beginning, and then like the whole thing just came about very quickly. Much faster than the first character. This was probably about like 3 to 3.5 times faster. Obviously, refinement and polishing will take the longest. Like, when I look and carefully examine it, I know there's still a lot of work to do just on just that one part, which is just the hair. So not only do the curves need to be smoothed out a bit more and evened out, there's particular areas like her hairline needs to be better adjusted. I need to fill those in. I need to actually like get a proper crease in there. Then there's also like the rabbit hole that I went down of like trying to separate the hair groups into the asset system that Unreal recognizes it as like group IDs. And I went through this huge like GitHub, as well as like coding and Python and everything. So it got really technical here. So it was very interesting trying to learn like how it boiled all the way down to file format writing and how Alembic file formats are exported out. So long story short was that I'm now also staring at a bunch of plugins and Python code, as well as trying to figure out a bridging gap for the tool for Unreal to recognize an asset coming in from Blender that has all these properties that Unreal can use when it gets exported out of Blender. Currently, there's not a real native way for Blender to do that. You have to use particular plugins written by some other people, and even then, the constraints or intuitiveness of that tool doesn't really work to like the potential that Unreal has for the hair system for grooms or whatever. And also just like trying to challenge myself and figure out like, is this a viable method for like game characters in the future? Because if it is, it'd be so fucking cool to have like crazy strand based hair like game characters. And that's also why like the game I'm making is also very very small and very few number of characters, because I want it to have that effect. Like Final Fantasy was always a huge inspiration, seeing like, you know, their FMVs or whatever, or even like the later ones. I know they did it with like hair cards and stuff, which is a more traditional way, but then to have strand based hair is not very that common. The most recent one I think was like only Tomb Raider. One of the Tomb Raiders, the most recent Tomb Raiders, they actually use strand based hair, and Lara Croft looks freaking amazing in the shots as well as the gameplay as where they use that. So that was like one of like a handful of examples out there, and the rest are still just in the traditional format of very very smart hair cards, which is nice and everything too. I'm not discarding it. Like hair cards is very very good. You can get very optimized. You can get multiple platform, but I'm just trying to aim for like this one segment here to be extremely high quality and see if it's functional without killing a computer, and also accessible to like not a crazy spec computer, because that's the goal. I'm not going to build something where like only a handful of like, you know, rich computers can see it. It's the goal is to make something that low end computers can see, and it's also like super high quality and high visuals. So that's kind of like just a small update of what's been going on. Yeah, I started picking up Fortnite again too, just to see what's there because of like battle pass skins, and I actually prefer the zero build mode, and also because I can just play the game for like 10-15 minutes or like an hour and not really feel like I'm lagging behind something or anything like that, like the classic MMORPGs and typical games I usually play, just like Dota 2 essentially, really. But as what I really like there is the different amount of skins and stylized effects that they have, and seeing what they're doing, seeing the vast difference of styles and colorized effects. I start questioning like, how do I get this effect on my character? And from that, it starts going into like a research hole of going, how do I build this? How do I optimize it? How do I make it game ready? And then basically landing it into like the game without overkilling everything, and also syncing up all the time, because time is going to be the biggest enemy. So yeah, I've also been like testing the grounds on that as well. I still play Lost Ark because that also runs on Unreal Engine. So it's sort of like the Fortnite is the current engine, and everything they do, updates, flows through there as well, and also new features and small things they push in there for Epic Games. And then Lost Ark is running on Unreal Engine 3, but it still looks really fantastic, and the mechanics are kind of wild against the bosses in you know, live action RPG that's pretty fast paced. So hopefully when some time frees up, I'll be able to actually have more frequent updates. But this has been sort of like what's been going on in the background, just so you guys know. And that's it. I don't want to keep this longer, and thanks so much for watching. I'll hopefully have a short Blender guide of just how I go about creating the hair altogether for characters, and just how to get it through to Unreal Engine. But then that's only like within that realm only. I don't really know how to simulate physics or animate it or anything within Blender for people who want to do it more for cinematics. Mine is more towards the level for game assets. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.